The group chat with Tara Thomas and Amanda Goodman of Faith and Four Letter Word.
Happy Friday. We were just leaning in so you didn't see my arm sticking out behind the graphic.
Yeah, we do our own graphics around here. Thanks so much for joining us on this Friday for the group chat. I am Amanda Goodman.
And I'm Tara Thomas. It's an exciting start to the weekend for my family because my children, well, born out of my husband being from Washington State, are Seahawks super fans. So much so that I think told you my daughter, when she was flying back from Washington State on the afternoon of that big game when Seattle clinched their Super Bowl berth, my daughter was crying on the plane. That's how much she is into it.
I get it. Philadelphia Eagles, we did it last year. That's why I love it. Like, we had the experience last year. You have it this year again. It is great. It is kind of like a...
So it's the third time in my kids' lives that the Seahawks will be in it. And the middle game of 2016, when they lost on the last play to the Patriots, for a lot of people, this is sort of trying to avenge that loss.
Does the dislike for the Patriots? I mean, it has to be less bitter, right? Because there's no Tom Brady. Was Tom Brady the quarterback at that time?
Anti-Patriots. Yes, he was. I was anti-Patriots all the way back to fifth grade because they played the Bears in the Super Bowl.
And then you lived in
85.
So that must have been difficult going to college in Boston.
Yeah, but I had a lot of friends from New York, so there were a lot of Jets fans and a lot of other
God
teams.
Bless them. I look at people who are Jets fans and who are diehard Jets fans, and you want friends who are Jets fans because they're loyal.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're loyal. I wanted to start off today with kind of the headline of the day. And if you're not here in Iowa, if you are in Iowa, then out of Atlantic, Iowa, they are under fire. They're getting national attention, all spurred because of local residents and parents putting out TikToks calling for the immediate firing of a high school counselor who reportedly has been sending inappropriate text messages and having inappropriate behavior among teenage girls. I'm not going to say his name right now, but I did see some of the text messages, and they were abhorrent, and these were allegedly sent by this adult man to a child. Remember, high school girls are children. And one of them was saying, "You look like the kind of girl that would enjoy," and then it listed a sexual position. I was so taken back. Then we did some digging, and you and I were talking on the phone yesterday, and we kind of pulled the layers of the onion back. This person had been at two other schools prior, definitely one school prior, I can confirm that, where the same behavior allegedly happened, and he was allowed to resign quietly. So this is the question that's on everyone's mind, and I'm going to turn to you because you are an expert at school communications. You led, Tara was the head of the communication department for one of the largest school districts in the state of Iowa. So when we hear this, because we hear it all the time, they were allowed to resign. This teacher, the coach accused of this, was allowed to resign. Why are so many teachers allowed to resign quietly? Why is that an option?
So in my experience, and then in what I've observed, especially through your advocacy, I think there are so many school districts, especially if they're small, where the administrator or the superintendent forms adult relationships with staff that go beyond a supervisory role. So what I mean by that is, in the case of one school district where she was involved, the superintendent was also good friends with this employee in question. And so when they had that socializing, that, aspect of being bros outside of work, then the default is, oh, well, we want to make sure that, you really did something wrong before we take action. Big mistake, because the approach of any school district, regardless of the size or circumstances, as soon as somebody is accused, regardless of how valid you or the person might, think this whole story is, you remove everybody involved from any kind of public engagement. So the teacher, in the case of, and I can speak to Waterloo schools during my time there, I have no idea about, status quo because I am not a part of the district anymore. But when we would get a report like she's describing, where a parent calls or somebody says, oh my gosh, we think something inappropriate is going on, immediately that call went to that school,
yes,
and that individual they walked into the classroom. Amanda,
Out.
could I talk to you for a minute? There's a situation. We're going to ask you to go home, and, we're going to, talk to you about
Still
it. Whatever.
paid. These people were
Correct.
still paid.
So here's the thing, no harm, no foul, because if you're the one who's involved until this investigation ensues, you, like she said, you get to go home and you protect yourself. Okay. If you have been falsely accused, or you're doing the right thing as an administrator, because you're immediately pulling the victim and or the possible perpetrator out of any more public engagement or student engagement. And so the part that we get frustrated about, we know so many circumstances in other districts and, districts nationwide,
Sure.
where the person was not removed and that person was allowed then to, as she described, to quietly resign to save face. Well, here's the thing. You're doing that in some respects because you want to protect the reputation of your district.
Mhm.
You're damaging your district.
Absolutely.
You're damaging, because there could be predators anywhere.
Sure.
So nobody is going to fault the administration. Now, granted, in this case, if you hire the person and you were aware of their past, but like she said, how would you know? Because they get to resign without any damage fallout.
And I think what's happening is I think people are saying, like, okay, look, he's out now. We let him resign. Like, it's just off our.
He'll just get hired somewhere else.
The problem. I watched all the videos. From this particular case, and there was a snippet that somebody had sent me that an administrator said, you have to understand, quote, you have to understand, high school girls flirt with their male teachers. No. No. Okay. Listen, I'm sure they do.
Yeah,
I'm sure they do. Like,
they're still children.
They're still
right.
That part. They're children. The adult needs to know the boundary and needs to know that, nope, we're not crossing this line. Right. We understand. Like, and here's it. Girls don't look like they used to. Girls look not what a girl
Not
wears,
relevant.
not how she looks at you, not how. No, you are the adult, and a line has been crossed. And it's, I think that this is the first time, and I've been doing this a long time. This is the first time I have ever seen an entire community together and be like,
Right,
out. Like, there's not one person saying, you're going to ruin the town. No, they are in lockstep, that community. And I'm impressed. I am really impressed.
And that's the right thing, because if you have the evidence, then you're getting behind protecting the victim. So what we know is it's a lot of circumstances usually where the person in question is friends with people in the community.
Oh,
So they default to, well, he wouldn't do that.
he would never do that.
Yeah.
He would. And
He's a good person.
And the other issue that I have is everyone within a school building is a mandatory reporter.
Mhm.
So the moment
So it
that
doesn't matter what your relationship is.
it doesn't even matter. The
Right.
moment there is the tiniest report, you are required by law, and people fail these children yet again. Here we are. We're failing children. And if you think that letting someone resign quietly, or just like, listen, we're just gonna like this. If you think that, that not holding not making somebody accountable is like, going to prevent harm, you are scheduling the next incident.
Yeah, that's right.
You
That's
are
a great
scheduling
point.
the next incident when it happens. So thank you.
So how did you find out about it
Oh my goodness. My inbox had been blowing up for days
prior to it going public?
prior to it to going public. And so I was looking, and again, I will not write about anything until I have everything confirmed 17 ways, because, as journalists, we have to be right. We can't be first. Then I started watching TikToks, and TikTok is a powerful social media platform, which, and there was a woman, and she was very emotional and passionate. And she was like, you're not keeping my kids safe. And then she was detailing the whole, it was just this firestorm. But it is last night I was at home, and my daughter, Gia, she's a high school senior. She came upstairs and she's like, has her phone in her hand. And she said, do you know anything that's happening in Atlantic, Iowa? And I said, I do. And she says, okay, because there's this video that went viral and your name is tagged everywhere. And I'm like, I know. And then we didn't talk about it. And then I watched her and I said, you should read about what the allegations are. So she stood there and she was reading it and she was like, Mom, that is nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, it is. It's just, So I
Well-
just kudos to that community
Right.
for standing up, for saying no. And here's the other thing. There was a 7:30 school board meeting called, and I don't believe the school board showed up. I think it was just the superintendent and one school board member. And so all these parents, imagine getting called to a 7:30. That room was crowded. The
Mhm.
parents were lining the room, and then they canceled the meeting. And so now it's like they canceled the meeting because the parents heard he was going to be allowed to resign. They canceled the meeting. And then now people are trying to switch it and saying, well, the school's saying that they weren't going to let him resign quietly. It's just because now the PR people and the comms people, there's a spin, and there's already been a statement released from the school district also threatening the people who were there, because it was a heated meeting. No one crossed the line. Nothing was physical. People were telling the superintendent that she needs to be without a job, right? It was heated. It was respectful. I watched it. It was respectful. But I think they're trying to flip
Despite
this.
the man with the wig.
Despite-
That's posing as
not
Logan
Jake-
Paul.
Logan Paul. But he was but I mean,
No,
he,
I mean, I
it
thought that was funny though, because
Nobody-
he has become, like you said, it's somebody who's using the platform to advocate.
to advocate,
Mhm.
and nobody was it. I'm sure uncomfortable for the school administrator to sit there and take it. Sure, you are in a role that's serving the public, correct? And you like all that praise. If you are in a glass fishbowl, you have to understand there's going to be a day that you're going to be in the frying pan,
Oh,
and you have
for
to
sure.
sit there and be in the frying pan. So the narrative now is going to flip. Like, the people calling for accountability now are being painted as the villain, and I'm not going to stand for that, because how many times is it done?
Well, and also for anyone watching, if you know somebody or if your child is ever involved in a situation where you feel or have evidence or can prove, any inappropriate engagement, when you go to the school officials, if the response is, okay, well, if your daughter or son doesn't feel comfortable, we'll make sure they can, switch classes, or they can stay home and they can do virtual learning. No. The only move that should be made is not altering your child's circumstances. It should also be the staff member or the adult similarly has to be pulled out of the environment.
Mhm.
Again, protecting all parties, regardless of, what gets sorted out in the investigation. So your child shouldn't be the one that has to change everything, especially if they've been victimized. It should be the adult also has to have some level of removal from that situation. And I just believe that a lot of it has to do with the smaller districts just having friendships with the people that they supervise. And we saw this in one school district where people were sending you photos of the
barbecues?
person going on vacations with the person they investigated. And that doesn't make any sense.
No.
You would recuse yourself because it's a huge conflict of interest. Why would I want to investigate her or somebody I'm close with, even if I'm in a supervisory role? Because that's not fair to anybody involved. I mean, so it may cost the
Right.
district some money, but it really shouldn't, because you can just bring in some outside person in law enforcement or an independent investigator.
I think the biggest thing is, you have in your mind how people should act, how people should be, and like there's this like reverence, right? So if it's somebody
Right, if
who's
they're in leadership.
right, if
Mhm.
especially someone leading a school, and then
Mhm.
once you get behind the green curtain and you start learning things, like when a superintendent tried to have me fired for looking into predatory behavior from a teacher. When a superintendent tried to have me fired for looking into predatory behavior of a teacher, and then got all these other people involved behind the scenes trying to,
Mhm.
and I'm like, ma'am, no. I mean, that to
Right,
me, and
right.
one of these days I will release the tapes.
Mhm.
I will release the files,
It'll
because
be
people
like
need to know.
Deep Throat
Oh,
in
it's
the Nixon situation.
Oh, it is, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, it's like I saw a quote one time, like, don't rest, I'm coming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't.
So our friend Melissa said the amount of TikToks I saw Amanda tagged in was crazy but good. And that's a good thing, because they're tagging you because you have the reputation as being somebody who's going to blow the lid off of it and do it in a way that's credible.
I
And so
appreciate
I
it.
think that's a good thing. I mean, if you're being tagged on TikTok, then people trust that you can do something about it.
Well,
and
and-
they're feeling like
Helpless.
because there's generally no strong local media presence that's going to cover it.
No. And it's kind of, like like I don't get paid for it, right? People, I mean, like I do it because I know it's my purpose. I know that's what God put me. I know it. You know, it's it's using my skills from I have from journalism. But I've already been like threatened. Like I was just reading a message. People are like, you didn't put this and quotes. If you read how I write, allegedly, reportedly, and I haven't even named the person yet. Like I could make people real famous. Like I'm not a dummy when I write or I post something. Like I follow the old school way of journalism. So
yeah, it's so our friend Jeannie said good people don't do that to kids. I'm sickened that people say that. And that's the line you always say that is so true is people don't have any problems with adults being held accountable until it's somebody that they're close with, because then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, then I'm going to have to be, attached to somebody who's now going to appear in a negative light. And then I'm associated with that person. Right. Well, that's fine. If you are associated with them, you clearly didn't know what they were capable of. So now you have to do the right thing and support the victim or come clean with whatever you know. Like if there's ever been behaviors where somebody came to you and said something about this isn't right, you, as soon as you hear something, it will jog in your memory. Oh, wait a minute, that was bizarre. And then you go forward to the authorities, because we know of so many situations, and we've talked about this. In the case of one of the teachers who ended up losing their license, there were kids for decades who had felt something was off, and their parents going to authorities or administrators at the time fell on deaf ears. And this was, 20 years ago. Well, now in this digital age, you saw 800 pages of emails.
Oh, 800 pages. Yes.
So, I mean, so then when I told somebody, I said, well, they have something now called digital, forensic evidence, essentially. And that's what you can't refute. And that is the beauty of emails and all of the ways today.
Recording devices.
Yes,
it's a one party.
It's different.
And people have no idea what I have.
Right.
And that's what's,
and
it's
that's
also
the
kind
part
of
that people need to realize. You're seeing you're peeking behind the curtain and being exposed to the evidence that's never going to see the light of day, most likely.
Right. Like I could, if
people are sending it to you.
If I truly wanted to ruin people, ruin towns, ruin school districts, I would spend every single day releasing something new, because what I have would destroy lives. I'm not in the business of destroying lives. I'm not in the business of destroying lives. I'm in the business of protecting children, right? If any life was destroyed, that person made that decision the moment they crossed the line with the child.
Correct.
That's the point. My job is to keep children safe.
And and we should qualify that. So in some of these situations, people say, well, how come you never shared X? Because if the people that have the evidence or are the ones that have come forward to, like, privately to her, they may not want their child or that information to get out because they're so concerned about being re-victimized.
Yes.
So there are a lot of local situations that she's very well documented, investigating, and she can't share them because all of the people involved don't want this to come to light. And that's because they have just decided to walk away and try to navigate everything privately. And I respect that, but then you keep getting emails and messages from people saying, well, how come you never talked about this? Well, she can't if the people involved are choosing to remain silent.
Right. And I'll take it on the chin if that means that I have to keep a kid safe.
Right.
I'm saying, like, if I'll take it on the chin. But the thing that's funny is that one thing I get asked a lot is, how do you walk into this school, like, for a game? Because, a lot of them were local. A lot of the situations, like, and, a lot of local people have strong opinions about me. I don't like her. Like, how do you walk in it? I'm on the right side. Does that make sense? Like, I'm on the right side. So I walk in to any gym. And if there's somebody that doesn't like me or somebody thinks that I'm there trying to ruin a town, I don't care what your opinion is of me, because I know where you stand on it. You're more concerned with the reputation of your school than the safety of a child. And it's always because, well, that child doesn't have the right last name. That child's not in the right social class, the economic class, yada, yada. Like, it's every child, not just the one that you think is worthy enough. It's that's the part.
And one of these children and moms in one of these cases, the narrative was they're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They're crazy. And so again,
and then the other
that's how
family.
we paint somebody that is in our minds tearing down an adult we love, or we, have aspirations to be like, and oh, he's a role model, he's this, so was Jerry Sandusky.
Oh.
We always talk about that.
Jerry Sandusky was a Pennsylvania god. His feet never touched the ground. I mean, legend of Penn State football. I mean, when Joe Paterno couldn't coach, for medical reasons, and Jerry stepped in, I mean, it was like he was put on this pedestal. Like, he's such a great guy. He started this nonprofit that focused on foster kids, all boys. He was so great. He started that because he wanted access to the boys so he could rape them.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's disgusting.
People, men and women, will choose a profession or a hobby. The men and women who are predators, they will choose a profession or a hobby that will give them large access to a large amount of children.
And especially in this case, vulnerable children who didn't have traditional parent support that would have allowed him to have a harder time gaining access.
Yes.
And that's the part that makes you sick. And so when you talk about a child who you default to, if you're an adult who's claiming that the child is lying, and you default to, oh, that person's crazy, sometimes it's cases and situations where they're coming from dysfunctional circumstances, which makes it even more sickening that they were preyed on.
Yeah. And I think it's really hard to comprehend. I think in basic thing, it's really hard to comprehend. How could a teacher, how could a coach, how could a youth group leader, how could all these people who are designed, or who are in our heads as parents, they're supposed to keep our kids safe. They're here to help kids. How could they do it? How could someone do this? Because it's so unbelievable that but you got to take it out. People are incapable of everything under the sun.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And again, the men and women in Atlantic, hats off to you. The way you fought, the way you use social media and the platform for good to fight for your children. And they're taking it on the chin. Like, they're labeled, they're troublemakers, they're crazy, and they're just, it's the mama bear. It's the seeing red of the mama bear and papa bear. Like, they're not having it. So I salute you, for real. And I got your back.
Comment from Pamela: your voices give us all a push to be braver. Praise and prayers. That's a very kind comment.
Need that.
Yeah, because it's hard for you when people start publicly then attacking you, just like they may have attacked the family or victim in question.
I mean, I know. And at one point it bothered me when people would come for me, like, and they would attack me. And now it's kind of laughable. Like, your opinion means absolutely nothing to me. And that's why I don't read. If you're sending me a message, like, I'm probably not reading it. I do get a lot, but if you're coming out to me attacking me, I don't. I'll pray for you.
Well, because you only have so much time and energy to devote to circumstances, and all of the time you're dealing with people that are, not being constructive is time taken away from when you can actually work with the advocacy component of the people involved.
Listen, and I'm not saying this to be egotistical. All the people, there have been so many times I can count, and I've saved all the emails because it was kind of like, so many people who were sent me negative, derogatory messages. The moment something happened with their child, I was their first call or email. I was. I bet. And you don't have to like me. You don't have to like me. You can, like, turn this on. You could be hate watching right now and be like, God, I can't stand Amanda. And that's completely fine. But I don't, and that's fine. I respect that. But if something happens to your child, I will, of course I will go through a brick wall for you.
And you don't know what it feels like to those parents until they've exhausted all their other avenues and they're desperate. So then they're turning to her when nothing else sticks. So when people say, well, I don't know why you went to Amanda Goodman. You should have gone to the principal. You should have gone to the superintendent. You should have gone to the police. They've gone to all of the above. That's the part that people don't get, because when you've exhausted every avenue, there is a little thing invented by, kids in college called social media. That is the new platform to have advocacy and social justice, right? And so when used for good, it's a very powerful tool, because it was the first time in history that technology gave us an avenue to usurp the traditional media. And that's something that no one could have predicted. I mean, we had no conception of how that would change, because our existence in traditional media was driven by advertising. And so that is what in many cases dictated the content, right? Because the smaller the town, the closer the advertisers are to the people that, you know, in our case are on camera. So there was only like 1 degree of separation between us and the sales department.
Right.
You know, there was no like line of demarcation.
I just, you know, we appreciate you allowing us to discuss this. We thought it was really important. I appreciate your insight. And I just want to end with this. Everyone is a child advocate.
Oh,
when people ask me,
if
like,
you're an adult,
when did you want to be a child? All of us
Mhm.
should be child advocates. All of us. You don't need a title. You don't need to be a former news anchor. You don't need to be a former, you know, you're a child advocate, and we need everybody to be a child advocate.
Well said. Yeah. So thank you for letting us discuss what has been really this week's hot button issue.
Oof.
So interestingly, we were in Oskaloosa Wednesday night. We had a great show there.
It's great.
Loved our friend Judy who brought us there. And, you know, sadly, there were some people who saw us after the fact and said, I would have come to your show. So if you're watching and you're like, how do I know what the upcoming shows are? You can go to our website, faithin4letterwords.com. And there's a link right there on that homepage that takes you to the Eventbrite, which is the third-party platform where we sell our tickets. So we have some great shows coming up. Ackley Alden is a sleeper coming up on Tuesday, March 24th. And we're working right now to reschedule our Washington, Iowa show. But the ones that are all live, the ticket sales are all a go. And that includes, is it Lamar's?
Yes.
Yeah, Lamar's, which I love that name. It sounds like a candy company. Lamar's.
Oh yeah, Mars was a candy company.
Yeah, I just think it's so great.
We want to talk about right now. I'm going to put Tara on the spot. Like, what are we watching right now? So what are we watching? Well, a couple things. I'm going to be, you know, if you think that I'm watching educational stuff at home, I'm not. Real Housewives.
Oh, we're longtime Real Housewives.
Did you see what
fans.
dropped?
No.
Real Housewives, Rhode
on
Island.
E! Oh, okay.
There's a
And
new
they're
one.
bringing back a reboot.
The
on E!
OGs.
Yeah,
the OGs of New York. The OGs of New York.
Okay, so Rhode Island, I can't wait. Now that one,
So
that one will be interesting. You'll probably
There's not one
feel
blonde.
more connected to it.
I do, but this is what was really weird. So in the previews for this show, they kept talking about Rhode Island. They're like, Rhode Island, where everyone wants to be. No one talks about Rhode Island. I have never once woken up and said, I wish I lived in Rhode Island. Like, not one person in the country talks about Rhode Island.
Rhode Island is that weird state where when you did your capital tests in elementary school,
What's
you're
the
like,
smallest
Rhode
state?
Island? What is that? Oh,
No, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's
because
gorgeous.
all those states are so small, they would all fit into Iowa.
Yeah.
That's what's so weird. The land mass is so tiny. Okay, Providence is the capital.
Providence is the capital.
Mhm.
Now we went there because Gio was looking at Brown at one point,
Oh, right.
like about 2
Great
years ago.
school.
It is beautiful, but you have to watch. Go find the preview. I think you can find it on Peacock or on Bravo. But when you see it hit, you're gonna understand what I'm saying. These women were like, not everyone can live in Rhode Island. Like, no one wants to live in Rhode Island. Like, it's just a weird thing. But the one thing that I realized about it, everyone's a brunette. Literally every woman
Which
looks
is rare.
rare.
There's always usually a bleached blonde in the mix.
Everyone looks the exact same. And you have to understand something. Rhode Island, though, Rhode Island's mobbed up.
Well, they're also pretty homogenous, so I'm not surprised that they would be all white.
Yes, they're mobbed up. They all look, all of these women, you can't tell them. They all look the exact same. So, but just watch that.
Okay, I can't wait. I think I knew a while ago that was coming, but I had forgotten.
That's coming. And then on
so
Netflix.
when are they going to do Real Housewives of Iowa?
Give us some Real Housewives, though.
Because we want to get like some free plastic surgery now.
Oh my God. Isn't it funny if you watch the Housewives, how the evolution of their look from like the beginning?
Oh my gosh. I
ends.
need to pull it up. I saw one of those side by sides of Dorit. And Dorit, like, oh my gosh, she wasn't unattractive, but you talk about looking totally different from how she looks now.
I mean, we're empowering women, right? Like, and I understand that, but like Dorit is probably one of my least favorite characters. I mean, the characters. She's one of my Bose is my favorite.
Yes,
on
we
Real
love
Housewives
Bose.
of-
Yeah, you have to.
But Rachel
watch it.
Zoe.
Oh yeah, Rachel Zoe though. What is it about her where there's something about her that feels like I guess now I will say from watching this season she's sort of let her guard down, but she's one of those people who, in her fashion world of being a stylist, that's how she got her start. I always felt like she would come off as very much standoffish.
No, she is very, I think she has had walls up.
Yeah, but you're right. This show has given her an
her
ability to be more real.
And the one thing that I've always loved about Rachel Zoe is she is this tiny little thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she has always dressed in like the flowy, baggy boho.
She does.
And that, like, that's my favorite thing about, like, just be, you know, you don't have to show everything to look like this elegant, beautiful. Like, I adore her. Yeah, that's it is. So
she's going through a divorce.
She
Dorit is going through a divorce, and then Kyle and Mauricio are estranged. And so, of course, sadly, the curse of Bravo, the Bravo universe strikes again, where all these women get into these reality shows and they think it's going to be all fun and games. And then the pitfall of being in the arena and that pseudo fame is it can cause and does cause a lot of problems in their personal lives, which makes for good television. But at what cost? At what cost? Because Kyle is Kathy Hilton's sister, and Kathy Hilton married into the Hilton family. So when you see that whole, you know, the family dynamics playing out, it's very interesting because you look back at the early days of Kyle and Mauricio when they first got on Real Housewives, and they genuinely seemed happy. And so you have to wonder if did all of the fame and fortune, because his real estate business took off and then he had his own reality show, did it go to their heads and impact their marriages? I'm sure
everything, like when you have,
I think we'd still be willing to give it a try.
I don't know. I don't think I could be on all that. Just imagine. I mean, like
you would do it because the point of doing it is if you have a greater purpose, then you use the platform for good. So you would go on there, you know, and you'd be a social media advocate, and I would go on there and I would be sharing my Christian faith. And then 2 episodes in, they would have to cancel me because they don't want someone on there who would be like holier than thou.
Well, you know why I would want to be on it. This is why, because I would want someone to do my hair every day and my makeup. Oh, I don't need full glam.
Wait. I just saw a TikTok. Walmart is carrying a Bravo line now, and you can get a shirt, and on the back it says, I'm waiting for glam, or it says,
God.
Yeah, I saw a girl on TikTok. She went in and bought it to surprise her friends, and she was going to wear it when they were watching Real Housewives.
My glam looks a lot differently, though.
I need to get those shirts for us.
I just want to, like, if someone could blow dry my hair, like when I'm getting my hair done, why does blow drying someone's hair?
I told you
why does it feel
during
so good?
COVID, I bought one of those old school plug-in dryers because I had gotten so lazy that I just would sit under the dryer and let it blow dry my hair.
So we need to know locally. We need to know if you're anywhere in Iowa. I need to know where I can go. Where is a good like head spa?
Oh, there's one. Okay, there's one in Waterloo that I know of.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, it's called West Spa Suites, and it's on 4th Street. And I know this because I did a story on the woman. So she has the setup where you lie back and you can get your hair. And it's so crazy you say that because my mom's turning 81 this month. And so I was thinking, like, we need to go to one of those spas up by Chicago where they call them like the Korean spas, where they do all of the things. It's like a top to bottom, like, you know, they do the like scrubbing of your whole body, and you come out of there like you've been beaten up, but your skin is glowing.
Oh no, I mean, I watched Southern Charm, and they went to the head spa,
That's
and
a
I
big
mean,
thing now.
I was sitting there, and then I look at Lucci, and I'm like, will you rub my head? She's like, ew, no, why?
You should have asked Aria.
I gotta tell you about Lucci. So everyone knows Lucci is my 10-year-old spicy one. Lucci is literally, and I told her this the other day. I said, Lucci, you're one of the funniest people I know. She's so funny. Her wit is like this, and like nothing bothers her. So there was you know how you go through mean girl stuff at every age. She's unfazed, unbothered by it. So somebody had said something to her, and it was the same person that I did the, reel about not too long ago. And so I said to her, I go, do you want to talk about it? Like, are you bothered by it? She's like, I'm not bothered. She's like, but I did say something to her. She's like, and for the first time, she didn't say anything back. And I said, well, what'd you say to her? She said,
I can only imagine.
She goes, hey, can your mama fight? And she walked away. Some girl who was being mean to my daughter looks at her and goes, can your mama fight? And so I was like, okay.
It's like the mean streets of Philly have been brought to Hudson, Iowa.
I mean, like, and I looked at her and I started laughing, and I mean, I'm sitting there like, you have to imagine this.
But could you fight? I mean, this is awful to say, but do you think that you would win in a fight against her mom?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's never going to happen. She's not going to.
I'm not going to fight.
She's not
I don't
gonna,
believe in violence.
I
No.
was just curious if you thought you could
I
take
believe
her.
I come in peace.
But
That doesn't mean that I'm not prepared
how
for
would
war.
you fight with your nails?
Well, and I don't fight like a girl. I don't
Would
I
you
don't currently.
slap and pull
No, I
hair?
punish.
Okay.
No, my
Oh,
dad
you
told
can't
me.
even make a fist because your nails are so
Oh,
long.
honey. Oh, honey. I don't do the hair. No, but it's like, yeah, I am very much, but you have to picture this, like how like thuggish and how ridiculous it looked.
That is
She's
so
telling me this,
funny.
and I'm in my bed. I have my heating pad on because I have my heating pad on. I have my Kindle and I'm reading, and I just sit up and I'm looking at her, and she's like, she tells me this, and I looked at her. I go, all right, girl, when you make the call, I'm ready. And I just lay back with my Kindle, like with my candle going from back at my leaves. Like it was just
in the
very
least defensive position possible.
Oh.
Like, okay, Melissa, our friend in Manchester, she said Riverview Wellness in Manchester, and you can, and thank you for reminding me. We have a gift card from them from back when we had our show there, so we need to use the gift card and go do the head
Oh my
spa.
God.
Thank you, Melissa. I have the gift card. I need to let's schedule that and go there.
I'm envisioning it.
Yeah,
Can you do
because-
it when you have a weave? Because I have some hair extensions in.
I'm assuming because there are people who would have, like men that might have hair pieces that they have to wash. I mean,
or they like take off your toupee, and then we'll
no,
massage
because
your
they
head.
glue them on now.
But I mean, like literally, like that is. I suffer from migraines, and if anybody else suffers from migraine, like they're the worst. And if you're like my insurance company, you only get like 5 pills a month. But I mean, there is nothing. So I got to give a shout out to my girl, Whitney Boyke. Like she is over at Pura Vida Salon in Cedar Falls, Iowa. When she hits you with that head massage at the shampoo bowl, when she's doing the conditioner, and it's like this, like she, like, we're not talking. I have like drool coming down my face.
Yeah, it's crazy how just that, short few minutes of a head massage like that, it can be a reminder of how much stress that you're carrying,
Your feet in your head.
Yeah, and my shoulders and my neck always hold so much tension. And so whenever I go to the chiropractor, I feel like then my head is floating. And I always think, why did I wait so long to get this adjustment? Now I have to mention, Melissa said, tell me when you're coming and I'll tell you where to go for lunch and all the things. Okay, thank you. We will be in touch. And then also I wanted to mention Jeannie. She said, is she the only one who doesn't watch Real Housewives? Here's the thing. Real Housewives, like TikTok and everything, it is a time suck, right? So sometimes it's a total waste of time, but what we find, it's an escapism.
Yes.
And if you watch it and you see how these people are living their lives and parenting, you feel so validated that you're a wonderful wife and mother.
Oh, and
I feel always like I'm such a better parent than these people.
And half the time, like, and I'm going to be honest, this sounds horrible, but sometimes I hate watch.
Oh,
because I'll be like, I need somebody. I hope so-and-so puts her in her place this week.
Yeah,
like,
that's so true.
Because some of the behavior is so awful.
And it's cure. And now it used to be more pure back in the early days, but now just like they've completely changed their looks, it's also edited in a way that's so hilarious and so dramatic. And I'll sometimes get my husband sucked in. And then when you watch, they'll do the thing where someone says something and then they do a cutaway and then the person's just staring and they didn't not respond right away, but for effect, they edited it to look like, the freeze.
Yeah.
Like, well, and so that's what heightens the drama, and it is hilarious. And so what's really crazy is my friend Barb and I also watch and have for years talked. She also watches, and for years we've talked about this. So I will always, because on my For You page on TikTok, the algorithm serves up what you watch. Well, I always watch clips of Countess Luann de Lesseps and her cabaret performances across the country. So I always find some, random clip and send it to Barb, and we both laugh about it, but we have admitted that we were sad when we found out like Luann was in Des Moines and we missed her show.
I don't think I could have gone. Have you? I like the Countess.
What is that song? that she said?
Money doesn't buy you class.
Thank you.
The fact that I know it.
Money don't buy you class.
Your voice is better than hers.
Elegance is earned.
Oh my God. Elegance is it's something like crazy. No, there's a new girl on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills who shares my name, Amanda.
That's all you share. Oh my
Amanda is the
gosh.
one upper, like who's all. She will tell
Oh
you
my
how
gosh,
much her house is worth.
She told
how
people
much she
that
makes.
she paid for the house.
Yeah, she was like, "Excuse
talk
me."
about emasculating your husband.
She was like, "My fiance, no, he didn't buy that." I mean, it's very much
very annoying. I mean,
so you watch it and you appreciate yourself.
But they cast her perfectly because we're talking about her, and that's what they want, right? So here's what's sad: when somebody like her comes on, and she's much younger than the women who are closer to our age, then we already have disdain because she's so much younger.
Oh, yeah.
So you're like, oh, she's young. They've all said that now. They're like, well, we have to give her some grace. She's young.
Well, I do laugh because the fact that it's still called Housewives and barely anyone's married anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's and it's sad because they depend so much on that income that they have to create drama to continue a storyline and to stay relevant, to therefore continue to be cast. And I think Lisa Rinna, I think she lived for that. So for her to now no longer be on that, I think that's killing her because she's still doing all those dancing TikToks.
Oh my Lord. Yes. So the Real Housewives is definitely what we're watching. And like,
we
need a support group. We need a support group. But also Netflix, if you've never seen this series, Lincoln Lawyer has come out with a new season.
Yeah, that's a great show.
That new season dropped yesterday. It's such a good show.
You would like it because the lead has an accent like your husband.
Oh, he reminds me of, that's what, I said that to Hector and I was like, you got to watch this guy. He sounds like, he very much sounds like you. Mickey Holland.
Yeah, he's a great character. And they have some funny or supporting actors in that too.
As a Gen Xer, I appreciate Neve Campbell is phenomenal in this role. And to see her, I mean, we've known
she
Neve
was Party of Five,
and then Scream and all the stuff. Like, it is so cool to see her like evolve.
She's the ex-wife of the lead actor, the attorney.
She is a phenomenal actress. She's very underrated, and I agree. She has this. Her look is very much like I think some of the most beautiful actresses in the world are the ones that are just so natural. She's one of them. Sandra Bullock is another one. Mm-hmm. Julia Roberts. Like, when you look at them, you're like, you just look like the girl next door. You're just have this elegant, soft look about you. But she's powerful in this. So that's a show. If you haven't watched it, Lincoln Lawyer is on.
So on Prime, I started watching and just finished with my husband the first season, The Night Manager. Very well done, kind of like a thriller. And now the reason that it was brought to our attention is they have another season out. So now we can watch the next season since it's out. And then, of course, I've told you the morning show is a must watch for anybody who's ever touched television news.
I have to watch the other season. So I will have background.
And that's Apple TV.
Apple TV. I will have background noise at work, playing because I'm very much like I need to fall asleep to something. I need to I can't work in quiet. It's very weird. Like I just need noise. So the go-to show. Now the go-to show to sleep is Gilmore Girls. But while I'm working, it's Friday Night Lights.
Oh yeah.
It is one of the best television series ever done. And let me tell you something. I lived in Texas for a decade. And you have seen nothing until you have seen football, high school football in Texas, where they're playing in their high school stadiums are bigger than college stadiums. Mm-hmm. The whole town. I mean, football's big in the Midwest. It is big.
We got the guy nothing. That's the lead again because he's
Kyle Chandler.
Okay, so Kyle Chandler, some of you will remember him from, like she said, Friday Night Lights. He was just in that new movie out with Ben Affleck and
Matt Damon.
Yes, and that was a good. I liked that.
Yeah, Kyle Chandler's really good. Connie Britton is the lead actress.
Now, this was so funny. My friend Gina, she said we both agreed that it was really good, and our friend Allison, who's married to a former NYPD guy, said, "Well, that isn't realistic at all." And then she said, "It's based on a true story."
What?
That movie?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is loosely. So that was so funny when a former police officer we know, said, "Well, it's nothing like that." And then Gina's like, "Well, it's based on a true story." I thought that was funny.
So that's what we were watching whatever you're watching, drop it in. Also, if whatever you're reading, I'm going to need some help because I read the new Freida McFadden. I'm a Freida McFadden fan.
Oh yeah, that's what you
I
said.
like psychological thrillers. Don't hit me up with any romance books. I'm not reading them. I'm done with Colleen Hoover. The whole Blake Lively thing put a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm like, I'm done.
That's too bad.
But Freida McFadden's newest, Dear Debbie, it was all right. It wasn't her best. So give me some authors.
Patricia wanted you to know that she saw the other day, she was reminded of an old recipe for a remedy for migraines. You put a pinch of salt under your tongue and you wait a few seconds and then you drink a glass of water.
Okay, I'm doing it.
You need to try
so last week I had to go to the urgent care because, and if you've suffered migraines, I guarantee you've been here. You're out of medicine, and people, like, a migraine is not a headache. Have you ever had a migraine?
I had an optical migraine.
Oh, those are horrible.
Where I went into stroke symptoms.
Those
when
are
I was
horrible.
pregnant, it was. My
Those are
mom is
horrible.
watching and she'll remember I couldn't connect my thoughts to my speech. And I called my mom to tell her that I was driving myself to the emergency room and I couldn't
believe it.
talk.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I couldn't connect. I was saying gibberish. You've seen people do that on
Yeah.
camera so she had to call Dave at school he was a teacher at the time and say, I think Tara's having a stroke and she's driving herself to the ER. It was awful. And I was 6 months pregnant with
Wow.
Charlotte. So yeah. So the good news is I don't have regular migraines, but the bad news is if you ever have one like that, especially in this case when I was pregnant, it was awful because I thought that it was something else. I thought I was having a
For
stroke.
sure. That's optical migraines are horrible.
It's where
everything
looks
goes
like
fuzzy.
yeah, you have, and in
You
my
know
case
it's
it was
coming.
like you saw broken glass.
Yeah.
So you're looking at I was
Horrible.
reading the teleprompter.
Oh.
And I started seeing that the teleprompter was splitting into multiple words.
Oh my God.
It's so weird.
I mean, having a migraine is horrible. I remember I would have them at this station when I was working in television news, and imagine
Which
being under
the
those
lights can trigger.
Oh,
Mhm.
the lights are horrible. But last weekend I was out of medicine. It was like a week. I had a week to go until I got more medicine, and I had to leave like senior night early at basketball to get home. And I mean, tried everything, and I ended up having to go into urgent care because I had to have a shot. Well, the shot that they give you is Toradol, which very thankful for it. However, it is a very strong form of ibuprofen. My ulcerative colitis, I can't take ibuprofen. So the headache started to go away, but now I am in a full-blown flare for ulcerative colitis.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
And
you're treating one thing and causing another.
And it's all because,
So
and I don't
terrible.
want medicine. I want to figure out what's triggering it. I started taking magnesium nightly because I've heard it not only helps with sleep, but it helps with the blood vessels and helps decrease migraines. I don't want to live on medicine.
Mhm.
But I'm really fed up with insurance companies dictating. Like, I will never forget when the insurance company, I said, can I get more than 5-6, tablets a month for my medicine? Because if you suffer from migraines, and once you find a medicine that works, you have to
Mhm.
that's
Have
like,
it on hand.
oh yes. And then they said, well, you shouldn't be having any more than 5 a month. No, no crap. No crap, Louise. Like, I don't want to have more than 5, but sometimes I do. Like, they're like, you need to, and then this person, she's like, you just need to learn how to relax.
Oh my gosh. Well, try having jobs and kids, right? You're never going to be able to de-stress entirely, for sure. My mom said, just finished reading Frozen River, a great book about a powerful woman.
Oh, okay. That's
So
a good, okay.
that's a
I take all
recommendation.
recommendations from Joanne.
Yeah,
I trust Joanne. I'm reading a book right now. It is called The Perfect Child. Let me see who I'm telling you what. This book, it's by Lucinda Berry. She's a great author. Lucinda Berry. It's called The Perfect Child. I am deathly afraid right now of a 6-year-old. There is a 6-year-old in this book. I am like, and I'm like, what's going to happen? Like, I had to put the book away last night because I had so much anxiety. Because in my head, I think I know what this child's going to do. And I'm like, please
Oh my
don't.
gosh. So is it based? It's fiction.
it's fiction.
Okay, good.
But I
Because I'm
I think it keeps your mind intact. And like, I like to think being, an investigative journalist, that I can also be a detective. These books have proven that's a lie. I cannot, because I will think that I have it figured out. And like, that's why
And
I
there'll
love
be a twist.
Freida McFadden is phenomenal at that. She has you believing you have it figured out. And at the very last second, she's like, no. And
So my cousin, my closest first cousin, Christine, who lives in Washington, South Carolina. Well, she's a high school principal in Washington. I think it's Washington, South Carolina. My mom can correct me on that. Anyway, she's in the northern part of the state, but is originally, well, she originally was from Bloomington, Illinois, but then when they were quite young, they moved to Florida and they lived in Jacksonville, and then they moved to Conway, South Carolina.
Okay.
And then now she's in, Woodruff, not Washington. She's in Woodruff, South Carolina, and her husband's the AD and she's the high school principal. So anyway, she and I play Wordle almost every day. And we're up to like, I think we've played it into the thousands. Like that's how long. We've been playing it for years. Fun. So it is so fun. So I really enjoy that. And then what's bad is now LinkedIn has got me hooked on these daily puzzles where you have to take a graph. It's a graph of numbers and squares, and you have to draw the line to connect all the numbers in order, plus cover every square.
No.
And this is what's bad. It tells you how many seconds it took you to do it. And then it ranks you.
Nope.
And then some lady that you know that
I don't like her.
that we used to work with and beat me. And then I was like, I really don't want LinkedIn to rank me because, I don't want to see my results because if this person has a sharper mind than I do.
When you tell me it's a time test, that is where my anxiety started.
See, I like that because my favorite thing in elementary for math is when they said go and then you had to do all the multiplication, and that was my favorite.
Oh my
thing.
God, that was like my least favorite. It was like this, and then we would do
8 times 8, 64. 8 times 7, 56.
No, that's where my anxiety started. And then we would do math like flashcards around the world. So you start at the desk.
Oh yes,
right?
I loved a good around the world.
Of course you did. I would get so nervous, and it didn't matter what the problem was on the flashcard. This was me. 42. Like I would say 42. I'm getting, my chest is so tight thinking, I'm sweating because I do not like it.
Your daughter Lucci is similarly anxious around that same.
She does not.
She doesn't like math.
Let me tell you something. I am so proud of Luch, right? She hates math. And so when I looked at her one day, and when I would tell my parents, I don't like math, I don't like science. And, my parents would do the whole baby boomer thing. What they were, well, you got to study. You know what I mean? Like that's what you're supposed to do. So I sat her down one time and I looked at her and I said, Luch, can I tell you something? Not only does mommy not like math, mommy was horrible in math. And she was like, really? Something clicked in that moment because I believe in this. If my kids don't like a subject or are really bad at it, rather than making them study that more, I focus on what they're really good at. So it was like, she's an excellent artist and she's a phenomenal writer. Like my kid, like they are such good writers. It makes me so proud. So I'm like, let's write something. Like, but I'm proud of the school. The school really invested in her.
Good.
Knew that she was struggling in math, pulling her out of class, suggested a summertime tutor. So she would go. It was another educator from school, but would during the summer would act as a tutor. And Lucci went and did math. And now, don't you know that she was at the bottom and now she's right where she should be. Yeah,
that's great.
Still doesn't like math.
Right.
But that's
is
okay.
Doing well because, like you said, it's a subject you really can't avoid. I mean, all the way up until we got out of it in college, thankfully, because of our majors, we were able to avoid some of the math and science.
I was laughing because
I told you I had to take a science class. So I took analysis of shoreline processes and we got to go to a field trip at Cape Cod.
You're smart. No, I took, when I was in college.
I didn't retain a single thing about the shoreline processes.
When I was in college, we had to take, you have to fill blocks, which I hate, right? I hate you have to fill blocks. And so I had to take a science class. So my advisor was and my advisor was in the communication department. And he said, you know what, take meteorology. That's what it is. Meteorology
that was awfully boring.
It is science and math.
It is so boring.
The first day of class, they open, everybody had this giant map on their table of the United States. And everyone around me was wearing a lab coat. Why? Why?
Because meteorologists have a seal.
Yeah. So then he's like, I need everybody to start marking the dew points across the country.
Oh my gosh.
So then I'm failing this class.
So
I start
funny.
Failing this class. I go to the professor.
You're like, I just read the news.
Yeah. I go to the professor and I say, listen, I'm like really concerned. I'm doing really poor. And he said, you know what your problem is, Amanda? You don't care. And I said, I care. I said, I don't want to fail this class. He goes, no, he said, no, you don't care about the atmosphere. And I said, you're
That-
damn right. I don't care
That
about
was
the
a
atmosphere.
precursor to all those decades on the set where we tuned out the meteorologist.
Oh, completely tuned out. And like the weather woody that they get when they talk about certain things. And I literally had to take meteorology. I failed it. I failed meteorology twice in college. I failed it. I had to take it 3 times.
Oh my
Three-
god!
so that's
but,
why
But
I
it's
have a-
funny because then we both ended up having to do the weather because inevitably we were on an understaffed show where we had to read the forecast.
Well, and I told
but
my
I
mom-
never got in front of the wall. I never did that.
No, I told my mom the one time, I told my parents, I said, because I had to do the weather one time when I was in Texas. And I said, I think I'm really understanding weather now. My mom goes, I would hope so after 3 times taking meteorology, but just
This is
horrible.
sweet. Jeannie said, I just read Faith in 4-Letter Words book. That was really good. So thank you for that. It's so nice that we were able to capture a lot of the content we share in the show in a book. And so there have been a lot of people who have brought the book and had us sign it, which is a surreal feeling.
It's very weird.
And then that second book, Advice That Went Viral, we've had really good feedback about that. I actually just went on Amazon yesterday and looked, and good news so far, no negative reviews, which never happens, right?
Knock on wood. Knock
So thank
on
you.
wood. Well, I know we only have 5 minutes left on the group chat, and we are looking forward to a weekend. It's a POC weekend of youth sports, high school
have
sports.
no sports except for the Super Bowl. I'm so happy.
I know. I'm gonna miss your big party because of
you
your
have
sports.
volleyball.
Well,
Yeah.
why are we scheduling stuff on Super Bowl Sunday? What are we doing? Like we have, and I think people assume, well, the mom will just bring them to the event. No, the mom wants to watch the
Yeah.
game.
Yes, we had 4 high school varsity basketball games last week. And then this week we only had 1, which never happened. So tonight, my friend Kristen has organized a bunch of the boy moms are going to do a restorative yoga class.
I mean, I'm really jealous about
And
that.
then we're going out to dinner, which some of the moms said they'll fall asleep in yoga, so they won't be able to make it to dinner. But it should be fun. So I'm having a relaxing Friday evening. And then tomorrow I have not forever gone. I'm getting my brows threaded because I can't do the wax because my face is too sensitive. So my eyebrows are so light that it's hard to see, but I need them cleaned up. But this is what is so funny.
Your eyebrows
Yesterday,
your eyebrows
no,
are
I
white.
forgot yesterday to color in my brows, and I got to work, and this is hilarious. Have you ever done this where you look in the mirror and then you're like, wait, what's off? Like I look naked. It was my brows. So my brows are so light. I looked like Lady Gaga at the Grammys because she has blonde eyebrows.
Yeah, the bleaching of the eyebrows.
Yeah. So I was
is-
like, I went, and then I realized, oh, I forgot to color. I mean, it's so weird how when you're rushed, you forget steps of your like beauty routine.
I don't like to put eyebrows on. I got mine. I have powder brows that they need
look
touched
good.
up. Thank you. They need touched up. I get them from Whitney Boyke, WLLB, Cosmetic Ink and Aesthetics. I appreciate her because I have the 90s brows. I mean, I have where we overpluck the Courtney.
Yeah,
Cox
mine are pretty
friends.
thin. That's why I've tried to let them grow out. And then now when I get the threading, this place that I'm going to is really
I can't
conservative. And
I
I
feel
love
it
the-
hurts.
I see it. I had mine
Mm-mm.
waxed for so many years that it doesn't hurt me at all. You know what it is? Because my hair is so light. The lighter the hair, the less it hurts.
Is that right?
Mhm.
See, listen, look.
Same
Being a Sicilian, I used to have
Same
my
with
whole.
bikini waxes.
Yeah, no, way too old for that. I'm not.
The lighter the hair, the less it hurts. It's true.
Well,
So I've been told because I do not have
I had
high
a
pain
whole
tolerance.
I had a whole goatee that I used to have to get like waxed off all the time. I'm Italian, like we had a mustache, right? I was bleaching my mustache when I was 12. I did. I had like a goatee, like so I would have to get waxed. And so now I will have to shave my face sometime. I don't care.
So
There's my secret,
You'll
my beauty
see it
secret.
on Monday, but I'm going to get my brows. When I get them threaded, they also dye it, and then it wears off. So it's different. I think it's not as long lasting as
see.
the powders, but
Well, 'cause
powder.
that's
But
permanent. Yeah.
yeah, but speaking of getting things done to your face, I have to give a shout out to Liz at Splendore in Cedar Falls. She has done some treatments on us. The PRX is the one that I'm currently doing.
Yeah. The liquid facelift.
Yeah, thank you. The liquid facelift. So I'm very, very, just with one treatment, satisfied with the result because I haven't had Botox in forever, and it actually smoothed out
Mhm.
some of the
Yeah, you
crow's
look good.
feet.
You look
Thank
good.
you.
I had somebody tell me. Somebody apparently said somebody like that my neck wasn't matching my face.
Oh my gosh. Was this Patrice?
It wasn't Patrice.
Oh, somebody else said
Listen,
that.
listen. If you're gonna criticize someone's appearance, like this is a rule of thumb. My grandma used to say, if you're gonna criticize somebody, we all better make sure we are, you know. And Jesus wouldn't even criticize me because he made me.
Supermodel
Yeah,
material.
like I know, like also I've lost 85 pounds. I was a fat girl, so there's nowhere for the skin to go.
No,
But
you're being way too
I would like
hard
a
on yourself.
neck lift, but it's 7:59. We gotta go.
What's our four-letter word for the day?
It's in honor of everyone in Atlantic. Loud. It is
Good
loud. Be loud. Be for what you take a stand on what you believe in. There is nothing wrong with it. Do it unapologetically. Loud.
And our Bible verse for the day, a fan favorite, Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. So when
I will give you rest.
when you are struggling, when you're going through all the things, know that you can always take comfort in resting in your faith, and in this case, turning to God. And so for me, again, I've been through very stressful circumstances where I had a peace come over me when I tried to lean into prayerfully, turning it over to God.
Yeah. It's amazing. We're not supposed to carry it, and it's quite gratifying when you take that load off. That's for sure. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We have a close now for our show.
Yes.
So we're gonna
this is
do
exciting.
the
our
close.
sponsors, Middle River Cabinetry in Winterset. Have
Yeah.
a great Friday, and we'll see you Monday.
The group chat is brought to you by the empowering staff at Middle River Cabinetry and Splendore Medical Spa.
Feels so good.